Self-defense can be defined as the act of defending oneself, one's property, or relative/friend through the use of physical force. That can include using some sort of weapon or simply using your hands, feet, head, whatever necessary to defend yourself. Taking this understanding, this is generally taught to people who have an interest in learning the art of defense against potential aggressors. So let's say you want to learn how to defend yourself against a potential aggressor. You take up a self-defense seminar down the street from you. You're super excited, and fast forward, you really enjoyed the self-defense class. It ended up being 2 hours a week for 1 month. Now your confidence is through the roof. You feel like you could probably take on Goku if you decided to challenge you. Maybe not Goku, but you're really sure of yourself. You test your new skills against a friend, and surprisingly enough, you aren't able to replicate the moves you've seen and performed in class. Reality sets in and you realize that the self-defense class wasn't at all practical. The escaping chokeholds, disarming an armed person, or the fancy arm twist to a slam didn't work like the instructor had showed you. And while you were performing it on another classmate, it had worked. You forgot that your classmate kind of let you do it for the sake of getting through the class. That is one major reason why self-defense classes are pretty useless. The moves being performed aren't so useful when used against an opponent that fights back or could just be stronger than you. You haven't drilled enough of the technique to outskill someone that has more strength than you. Training 2 hours a week for 1 month is simply not enough time. You need well over that to be effective. That for me explains why self-defense classes are pretty much useless. You enroll in these self-defense classes, and there's pros and cons in everything, right? But these are the main issues I have with self-defense classes. Number one being overly exaggerated and choreographed. The primary marketing strategy to get people enrolled in self-defense classes is to showcase skills. You demonstrate what you could potentially do to an aggressor. So they find someone under their tutelage or a family friend and they showcase these different skills. And it looks really good, right? You're seeing all these skills being demonstrated and you're like, you know what? I could potentially do that if I go ahead and enroll in the self-defense class. What you see guys on self-defense is someone allowing these moves to be performed on them. And granted, you don't really want someone to really resist the moves that you're actually performing because at that point, you know, it doesn't look cool enough. So I really don't have a problem with the marketing strategy. But when you're in class, you should really throw that concept out of the window. That doesn't work in real life. If you're trying to escape a chokehold and you're trying to create space between the aggressor's forearm and your neck, and then somehow you create that space and you flip them over, like, it doesn't work like that. Now, it can work if a person has drilled that technique over and over again against someone who has given them resistance slowly. You don't have to give them crazy resistance right away, but you slowly introduce more resistance to them so that way they get a feel of what it's gonna be like if they're in a chokehold. But if you're in class practicing with a friend, they put you in a chokehold and they don't give you as much resistance and you perform the move. And let's say time and time again, the instructor doesn't make corrections to this, you're gonna build a false confidence. Your instructor has to make sure they actually increase the resistance over time and not just a span of 1 to 2 months. Self-defense classes need to last quite a long time in order for you to have that technique down pat. A big scenario that really kills me, take a class like Krav Maga. Someone's pointing a gun at you, and next thing you know, you magically disarm them and you point the gun right back at them, and then boom, you actually won that little skirmish. That's not reality. And this isn't a shot at people who practice Krav Maga because there's some really good Krav Maga instructors out there. But if you're going to just a standard commercial one where the instructor just looks like shit, he doesn't take it really serious, he hasn't really studied the culture, just everything about Krav Maga, but he's just marketing towards the average consumer who doesn't know a thing about Krav Maga, just what they see on TV, and then there you go, they got your money. Self-defense can be practical and effective, and I'll get into these solutions in a moment, but you have to make sure that if you're teaching a self-defense class or you're enrolled into a class, don't just go through the motions. It's like I said in the previous video, don't just train to train. You have to actually do things with intention. So if you're holding somebody in a chokehold, don't just hold them in a chokehold just to get through class. Actually apply pressure, and you want to vary the degree of pressure as well. And this ties into my second reason. You're not drilling realistically. If you have ever been in an altercation on the streets, at your house, or an actual sanctioned bout, then you know your heart may be racing, especially if it's your first one. Or you may feel a bit fatigued just because your nerves are just on 10. You're not used to this type of pressure. So let's bring it back. We're in a self-defense class. Let's say once again, we're trying to escape a chokehold. Did anyone test out our heart rate, our blood pressure? Are we fatigued? No. we just keep it very normal. The instructor explains and demonstrates what we're gonna be doing, and then from there we find a partner, then we perform the drill. In my eyes, what you should do, maybe get your class to do like 20 burpees, and then try to escape that chokehold. You may be a bit fatigued, your heart is gonna be racing, your blood pressure is gonna rise just slightly. When you're in the actual altercation, you're gonna be stressed. You're not gonna be in a calm, suitable environment like, you know what, hey, he put me in a chokehold. All I gotta do is just put his hand right here, create space, and then I take his hand and I flip him around, then I put him on the ground, then there. It's not really like that. You're gonna be under duress. You're not gonna be like that guy from just going from place to place around the world and just flipping everybody. It's not really like that. And I know most of you that are watching this video understand this, but the problem lies within the average consumer. They don't have a concept of fighting. They don't understand that everything they see on TV, it may look easy and may look very applicable for you, but drilling that stuff against someone who knows what they're doing, or let's say maybe they don't know what they're doing, but they're stronger than you. You have to figure out how to outmaneuver someone. Whether you're calm, stressed, overly anxious, whether we get into a simple or super escalated situation, our body is gonna enter fight or flight. So learning how to utilize your body capabilities when you're stressed is gonna be super beneficial for you. So if you ever take a self-defense class and you find yourself in this situation that I am describing, you're not really under duress, pretty calm, just understand that if this continues to go on, you're not gonna see any real benefit. You're just wasting your time and money at that point. Like I said a moment ago, the best way to fix this is just simply elevate your class's heart rate. Make them feel duress. Maybe everyone should be tired out in the beginning of class. Then towards the end, you start drilling these techniques because now you're gonna be tired. Or play mind games with people. One thing I used to do when I used to train my fighters back in Michigan, I used to play mind games with my fighters. For instance, if I'm throwing them a tennis ball, right? They have to catch it, and I might ask them a question like, hey, what's 10 times 10? Either by the time they catch that ball, they have to give me the answer. And if they don't, I simply have them do burpees or I might have them run. But the point is, I want to create those stressful situations where you have to think fast. We can't control every single situation, and it would be in our best interest if we learn to stay calm and collected in a potentially dangerous situation. And there are self-defense classes that do offer this type of scenario. And really, shout out to you guys for teaching it. I wish more classes and instructors will replicate this idea of self-defense. Don't just do things just for the sake of doing them. Do them with intention. Although I said all of that, self-defense classes still has its place. A great instructor is gonna make sure you're leaving class with confidence, but most importantly, knowing how to de-escalate a situation. Even though learning how to fight, learning how to defend yourself is all cool, but the best way to avoid an altercation is to simply de-escalate a situation, either through talking or again, just simply run. If you're a grown person with kids, a family, a wife, a husband, whatever it may be, why are you fighting on the streets? Unless your family is in danger, I get it. But if someone says something to you or they just cut you off and they want to fight with you, ignore them because it's more of a loss on your end. Most people who are looking for an excuse to fight you simply don't have anything going well for themselves. They're poking at you to entice you, to get you off your frequency. You have to be able to elevate beyond that, guys. Control your situation as much as possible. And if you feel violence might be the answer in that situation where you don't do jail time, then you might have to rough someone up. But other than that, try to de-escalate a situation as much as possible. But anyways, guys, the next time you want to enroll into a self-defense class, just ask yourself these questions. Ask your instructor these questions. And let's say you really like the class and the instructor, but they're not implementing these ideas. Talk to the instructor. Ask them reasons why they're not implementing these ideas. If they're open to it, they'll probably implement these ideas. Or maybe down the road, they're actually planning on doing that. You're not gonna get self-defense down in 1, 2, 3 months. This has to be an ongoing thing. I'm all for you guys building confidence, being calm and collected, but I personally want to make sure you guys have a real confidence. Not an exterior confidence, but that confidence is coming really within, okay? If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash that like button. Most importantly, make sure you are properly subscribed. I'll see you guys next video. Peace and love as always, and now shade. Boom, we out, baby.